Hello, my name's Chris. Welcome to Team Phoenix. I want you to watch this video. I'm just going to replay it a couple of times, and then we're gonna come back to talk about it. Okay, so if you haven't already guessed, I'm sure most of you have, but I hope in this video to some of you at least maybe help me to understand the red car stroke accomplice car conspiracy theory that is out there surrounding the Christopher Watts case. Because of the new Netflix documentary that's come out, there's obviously a new influx of people that are going to be new to the case, maybe watching this video, and they're going to see this red car theory going around, of course. And like I say, I'm going to put across my opinion in this video. I'm going to support it with digital evidence that I have put together. The video you've just seen, I'm going to talk about it in a minute. We'll go through it again. It's a very simple technique of overlaying video to create what you see. Everything's taken from the original files from the discovery, from Nathaniel Trinastich's video, from his security footage. And I hope some of you already have seen kind of what is, in my opinion, just a single car, Betty's car, leaving from her driveway. I hope a lot more of you see that after this video. But just to kind of let you know how that was made. It's basically just using the original video, obviously, of Nate's camera. Where you see that car leave. We'll just call it that car for the moment, okay? And then you see over the top, you just basically overlay that image with this snapshot, which I've just took from the video footage. It's on the last file where it's the sun's come up, it's light. So if you overlay that over the top of the original footage where the vehicle emerges, it's dark, then you get a kind of better picture. And I hope in a minute I'm going to point things out to you to look for so you can reference those when you watch it again. And I'm hoping that at the end of it, some of you who maybe are in two minds about it, or think that there is this second accomplice stroke red car leaving from Chris Watts's gravel, on that fateful morning in August 2018, that some of you will no longer believe that, and you'll believe that, or agree that, in my opinion, it's simply Betty Marcoux, the neighbour, or Marcoux, whatever however we pronounce it. It's simply her leaving at 5:15 a.m. and there was only one vehicle leaving, just her vehicle. End of the day, she said she left at 5:15 a.m. So we know that's going to be on there, don't we? So that's the technique that was used. But before you watch it, I just want to point out some very important things. It's really important that you've got points of reference for when you watch the video. Now this is clearly, as you can see, a view of Chris Watts' garden and the gravel track and Betty's garden, and you can see part of her driveway. So the four things that I really want you to focus on, some of you may be familiar with them already, but some of you won't. Okay, obviously you've got the lawn, and then you've got the gravel track. This is a gravel track that everybody talks about. You know, it's quite a thin track. There's no way a whole vehicle would fit on that gravel track. Two wheels would have to be either on the grass or they would have to be on Betty's property. Okay, I think everybody would agree with that. As we know, there were no visible tyre tracks either on the grass or on Betty's property. So that's point number one. So the first things I really want you to look at are, this of course is a side of Betty's house that you see here. Four things I really want you to focus on are the drain pipe, the white drain pipe, the white line on the left is the end of the, just the kind of, looks like a garage door, but it's not, the end of kind of the house there. So it's the far right. And that's actually the only one you see on the CCTV anyway. Is the drain pipe. Okay, there, and then you've got the corner of the house coming down, and then below that corner you've got a round bush that's in Betty's garden, and then underneath that you've got a rock. Okay, so you've got the drain pipe, corner of the house, below it the bush, round bush, and then below that the rock. Okay, and then of course in front of that you have the gravel track. Okay, so with that in mind, obviously you would expect, if a vehicle was parked here on this gravel and it leaves, it's seen driving off, obviously you would expect it to be, of course, in front of these four features. So you would expect it to block these features. It would partially block the bush, it would block the rock, you know, as it drives away. And then of course beyond the bush we see part of Betty's driveway, the end of her driveway. Of course, if a vehicle was to leave from Betty's garage and drive down her driveway, then of course you would expect that vehicle to emerge from behind her house and behind the bush in her garden. You would expect it to emerge from behind there. So what you would expect to see, of course, is you would first see headlights emerging from behind that bush, and then of course you would see the rest of the car as it came forward towards the road. So you would see a kind of emerging effect on the camera. You know, you wouldn't see the whole vehicle as it leaves until it's left. So with those things in mind, I'm just going to play the footage for you again. So I just want you to look out for the drain pipe, the corner of the house, the bush below the corner of the house, and then the rock below the bush. And I've actually, you probably noticed already when you first saw it, I have marked the gravel. I've written the word gravel where the gravel track is. As we know, it's in front of the rock, and you will see the rock when you look at the footage. So remember those four things as we look at it again. So going back to the footage, so you can see there, you can see the drain pipe, and you can see at the top there, the top left, the corner of Betty's house, and then below that corner you see the round bush, and then below that you see the rock. And then in front of that, like I say, I've marked where the gravel track is. It's right next to the lawn, and you can see the lawn there. There's the driveway, the garage, from the garage out onto the cement. the driveway, right next to that is the lawn, and then right next to that is the gravel. And you can confirm that if you go back to the image here. As you can see the lawn, and then the gravel's right next to it in front of those 4 features that I showed you, which we can see here. Drain pipe, then the corner of the house, and then that round bush in Betty's, and then the rock. Okay, and of course it can't be on Chris's property because Chris doesn't have any little round bush like that in his garden, so this is Betty's garden that you're seeing there. So I'm just going to play the footage again and just take a look, take a very close look at where the vehicle that you see, where that vehicle emerges from. See what you think. You're all going to form your own opinions, so let me show you. Let's play it. I'll just go back and play it once more. And then just once more again, I'm just going to pause it. So as I look at that image, I've obviously used quite a very high zoom on it. It's zoomed up to a few hundred times, but everything's still quite clear. Hopefully you can make it out, make those features out that I mentioned. But to me, it appears to me that vehicle is emerging from behind the bush that's in Betty's garden. It doesn't look anywhere near the gravel, anywhere near. It's too far away from the gravel track. If I go back to the image, as you can see there, you can only see here the first part of the car. You can't see the rest of the vehicle, can you? So one can only assume from that it is because, and my screen's gone mad, because it is emerging from behind that bush. I mean, hopefully some of you will see that. Hopefully, I know probably a lot of you, some of you won't. You won't see it. But I mean, to me personally, it looks definitely like it's coming from Betty's driveway. I think what has confused a lot of people is, I mean, you have to remember that Betty will need to reverse out of her garage, and she will need to swing round to straighten her vehicle up. So I think when people watch it and they see those first kind of couple of lights, if you like, sign of lights, I can only say, can't I, in my opinion, but in my opinion, you're merely seeing Betty reverse lights as she's reversing out of her garage, and then she's swinging round to straighten up. You see lights bouncing around. You see her headlights reflect up and hit the top of her house. I mean, you also have to think, if that was Betty leaving and she's turned left, you are going to see her rear lights because she has turned away from you and is driving off. You're going to see her rear lights. Why do you not see those lights? I suggest to you that's because no vehicles left. Betty hasn't left. No other vehicles left. I suggest what you're seeing is merely Betty's car lights as she has to reverse out of her garage, and then she has to swing round to straighten up. Now, of course, a lot of people will say, but the car's red. It's red. You can see it's red. What I would say to that is, until you can prove two things, really. Until you can prove, for one, the image that's taken earlier in the year, 2018, there's this image of Shanann standing there in Betty's garage behind, and there's a grey car in the garage. Until you can, and that's earlier in the year, 2018. I'm not sure, I think it might have been May. But until you can prove two things. One, can you, without any reasonable doubt, prove that Betty, in August of 2018, did not have a red car? Can you prove she did not change her grey car to a red car? Can you prove that she didn't at that time have, for instance, a loan car or hire car? Maybe her car was in the garage. Can you prove that, for one thing? Secondly, can you prove, without any kind of reasonable doubt, that a grey car passing behind a Ford, I think F-250 truck with its lights on, obviously its rear lights red, could you prove without any doubt that the red lights from Chris's truck reflecting on Betty's car, if it's grey, would not make it look red? In the middle of the night on a camera, could you prove that? Could you prove that that reflection of those lights could not appear to make another vehicle look red? Because until you can prove, without any doubt, those two things, then really it's quite weak evidence to just sit there and say, but it's red, look, you can see it's red. You have to be able to back up and substantiate those claims by disproving those two things. Otherwise, for want of a better phrase, you're just pissing in the wind, basically, with those claims. Also, logically, you have to consider that. You have to consider also the following. You have to consider that Nathaniel Trinastich's camera, motion detector camera, you have to believe that did not pick up any accomplice stroke red stroke second vehicle arriving. There's no camera footage to show a vehicle backing in to that gravel track or arriving at the house and parking up at the gravel track outside Chris's house. There's only two recordings from Nate's camera. One is when Nicole Atkinson drops Shanann off at home. The second is when Chris walked out to back his truck in. There's no recording of anything else. No vehicle arriving, not even any footage with nothing on. There might have been delayed footage. Nothing's triggered it other than those two things. So you have to believe that the camera missed out on on a vehicle parking up there. You also have to believe that whoever was in this conspiracy theory helping Chris Watts would be brazen enough, and some would call them stupid enough, to back up a vehicle out front of the house on the gravel, knowing that there's a camera there. In that situation, I have no doubt in my mind that Chris would mention, by the way, neighbour's got a camera. So you would have to assume that they would be dumb enough, brazen enough to do that, if there was some kind of plan with other people. You have to bear in mind also that on that side of the house there is, of course, the doorbell camera, which has very good range, and more than likely, very possible, is going to pick up anything that parks over in that area. There's also no entry to the house over that side of the garden, of the front yard. There's no entry to the house unless you're going to get near the doorbell camera. You also have to think, if this second vehicle, if it is a second vehicle, it leaves literally a split second after Betty leaves. Literally within, according to the conspiracy theorists, it leaves. She turns left, it leaves literally within a second. You would have to consider the mentality behind that. If that person sitting in, so-called accomplice sitting there, would they think, well, we'll just wait until Betty's gone, or we'll leave, bang, the split second she goes, we'll go, and hope she doesn't notice? You would have to believe that, wouldn't you, to believe this second car. Remember, of course, Betty Marcoux, the neighbour, said in her interview she left at 5:15 a.m. like she does every morning for the gym. You see a vehicle on that camera leaving at 5:15 a.m. In her interview, she says to the officer, and she points straight across.
Right. But, you're making me think that I did see the truck, I believe it was this morning, because the lights were turned on. And I was pulling, you have to be careful coming out of here, because it's kind of a three-way mess if you're all going the same place. But I noticed that the back lights were on. But,
that was around 5:15 this morning?
Yeah, I leave 5:15 every morning.
Or you have to be careful there because it's a three-way junction. Yet you have people telling you that she turned left. Yet in her interview, she gave absolutely no indication whatsoever that morning she had turned left when she came out of her driveway, because she pointed straight across, and actually made a point of saying about the dangers of that junction, because as she comes out, she's got to go just ever so slightly on an angle to the right to get to that road. You have to take that into account as well. She does not need to take a hard right turn to get to that road. She can merely take a car on an angle and go straight across onto that road. So you have to, all those things have to be believed, and all those other things have to be disproven and discounted before you come to this conclusion, really, that there was somebody else there in a second red Accomplice vehicle sat on the gravel. So I hope this made things a little bit clearer for some of you, and I would be really interested to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Certainly if you thought there was a red vehicle, second car there before, and now after seeing this you don't. But I hope you found the video insightful, and as I say, please leave your comments, and if you found it informative and enjoyed the video, then please hit the like button. Thank you.